everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Light Lessons with Sierra. This week I'm flying solo. I thought as we are nearing the end of this series, I should just sit back down with y'all and talk about the light lesson that is kindness. When I was creating these light lessons, I was doing a show. And in this show, my character had been pretty much ousted from everyone and everywhere. And there was just this one moment that she was given these yellow roses. It's an act of kindness. It just changes everything. So I felt like yellow roses were a small representation of acts of kindness. This is our 19th episode. And as we have explored 18 other light lessons so far, all of these light lessons are actually ways in which to be more kind to ourselves and more kind, therefore, to other people. So that's why I waited till almost the very end to talk about kindness. Now that you've had all these other light lessons, you can see how you can apply each one. Oh, that one is how I can be more kind in my self-talk, or this is a way that I can be more kind to others, more connected to others. So with that being said, the first order of business, y'all know, is to read the dictionary definition of kindness. So the definition, which is interesting because kindness is a noun, which I want to highlight, which means it's a thing. It's a thing that you can have. Therefore, it's a thing you can give. So the definition is the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. I'm so fascinated by that because I make this assumption not only for others, but in my own life. I'm assuming that when I wake up, my intention is to be friendly, generous, and considerate. And I think that you probably feel that too. So why do we find so much unkindness in the world? I've been really thinking about that this week. Why is it that there is so much unkindness? Is that even a word? Sure, it is now. And I wonder if it's because we aren't intentional about our kindness, because we are all making assumptions that we are just going to show up and be kind. But I think that there's tools. I think that there is a way to be more reflective about that as we carry on with our day, with our hour, with our minute. As you know, as soon as you wake up and you start scrolling through your phone, you start to decide how you are feeling in that moment, in that day. And it might be someone else's energy. Most of the time it is, which is why I think a practice that's so important is when you wake up in the morning, you don't roll over and grab your phone. Instead, you can grab a book of reflections, a book of meditations, or nothing at all. Or it's just waking up, making that coffee, drinking that tea, whatever it is, whatever your morning ritual is. Because guaranteed things are gonna get harder during the day. So start with something as kind to yourself as possible. And that's as simple as a calm, peaceful, loving morning ritual for yourself. So that's one tool, I think. And then the other thing is pausing in reflection throughout the day. When you get that gut feeling that wasn't kind, that was really unkind, that was mean, just pause with that thought, with that feeling. Know that our bodies are always telling us, our bodies are always keeping score. If something didn't feel right energetically or whatever, reflect on that. Stop. That's important to pay attention to. You know what? Let's get back to the basics. I think, again, you guys know this by now, World According to Sierra, but I wonder if kindness is a basic human attribute. So getting back to the basics, which is be kind. Sometimes I think when we wake up and when we know that we need to I gotta meditate, I gotta fix everything, solve everything. I know I get really wrapped up in that. I get very heavy sometimes with there's just so many ways that things need to be fixed, that things need to be changed, that things aren't okay. It's so easy to see that. something that gets me back to the basics is, wait, how can I simply be more kind in this situation? Which brings me to, this is something that I think about a lot in my day or when there's conflict. I think about this, would you like to be right or to be kind? I think this is interesting because sometimes right is important. Sometimes there is a right and a wrong, especially with everything that we're seeing in our world today, in this country that I'm in particularly. There is a right and there is a wrong. There is good and there is evil. There is human decency. There is basic civil human rights. And there is the complete opposite of that, and evil and destruction and ways to keep others down and build only yourself. That being said, there are many situations, there are many times in small ways, and you can find these for yourself, in conflict, in small conflicts with people, to be right or to be kind. Just ask yourself. You can always be right. And in your arguments, you may be right. But what would it look like, and this is for you to answer individually, what would it look like to just be kind in this situation? Sometimes the kindest things is, maybe there is another way to look at this or to be. What would it look like to be kind? I challenge us to try and find ways that we can do that a little bit more this week, this life. I thought about this too with Be Kind. All of us that remember the 90s, remember when we would go and we would check out those videos from Video Visions. Okay, come on, was that maybe a Colorado thing or Blockbuster or any of these places, and you would get a VHS. And the motto was, y'all could say this with me on your screens, be kind, rewind. I suddenly thought of that this week and I was like, oh, I want to talk about this because it's such a simple slogan. For those that don't know about VHS, that meant if you got a VHS that wasn't rewound all the way to the beginning, that means you're starting the video wherever the person ended it. So it could be giving away secrets. It could just be annoying that now I have to do one other step and rewind this thing, and now I have to wait, and I already got my popcorn, I'm ready to go, and I gotta wait because someone didn't rewind this thing. But I love the tag at the beginning. So it's not a tag, but I love the part at the beginning. Be kind, rewind. Be kind, meaning do someone a favor. This is an easy thing to do. You've just finished this video, just rewind it, because it'll just be one less step for someone else to do. That is kindness. That simple thing, a video, which brings us to small acts of kindness and then random acts of kindness. So small acts of kindness, we hear this all the time. We hear about just do small things that are kind. Things like rewinding a video, because that tells me it's empathy. I'm thinking of someone else. I am thinking of how this could contribute to their day. So that's a small act of kindness. Paying someone's parking meter when you see that it's gonna go out. I thought about this. I was in California recently. I was like, oh, I can actually pull my car out of this parking meter and there's gonna be time left, and that is gonna bring someone so much joy when they pull in. That's like a little act of kindness. Calling somebody on the phone just to see how they're doing, that's a small act of kindness. And you notice that all these small acts of kindness, they're actually great, huge acts of kindness. Just by these small things. That's why just showing up for each other it's a small act of kindness. Pulling a light lesson for someone is a small act of kindness. That's like, let me think about you in this very moment. Ooh, I pulled you a word. I pulled you kindness today. I pulled you whatever light lesson it is. These are small acts of kindness. This takes us to random acts of kindness. I think that why we love to talk about random acts of kindness is because it makes others feel really good by watching somebody do something kind for someone without any guarantee of an outcome and without expecting anything in return. I think one of the things of why we get mean, we find that people aren't trustworthy, or we start to feel really negative and down, is because our trust is broken. This is part of trust and release, the light lesson. What if we trust and release? That is being kind. That is allowing ourselves to be kind, allowing ourselves to trust others when they are being kind. It's funny that kindness has become sort of this exchange, this sort of, I don't know if I can trust this kindness. What do you actually want in return? That's why practicing random acts of kindness is really important. The more you do them, the more you will trust them when they're happening to you. It also helps us remember that there is humanity. To me, doing acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, reconnects me to humanity, reconnects me to being plugged in to other humans, especially in the times that we're in where we are doing a bit of isolation. How can I be kind during this time? Also thinking about, how does that make me feel when I witness kindness? A lot of us spend time on YouTube and we go down rabbit holes of things that are silly, things that make us feel good, things that are funny, things that are mean as well. And we don't tend to go down rabbit holes of acts of kindness. I think because once you see that one thing, that one powerful, beautiful act of kindness, it's like this hit that you don't actually need a ton and a ton more of, because you get inspired. That's like, oh, I'm inspired, that kindness, yes, I'm full up. Witnessing how that makes you feel, marinating in how that makes you feel, that feels really, really good. I want to do more of that. I want to be more of that. I want to inspire someone else. I want to be in that full kindness. So I could talk about kindness all day. I love to talk about this word because it is a basic human need. I think we need kindness. I think we need to be kind. And I think we need others to be kind to us. So for our marination station, I want us to reflect on any of these points that I've talked about. But I really want us to reflect in the morning when we wake up. I want us to reflect for a moment, whether you have a meditation practice or it's just right before you get out of bed. I intend to be very kind today. I intend to have good self-talk today, which is kindness. We tend to do a lot of negative self-talk. That goes back to the you are enough. If we're coming from the place of enoughness, there is room to be kind. Our birthright is to be kind. Then at the end of the day, I want us to reflect as well. Where was I kind to myself, to others? Where was I unkind? A lot of this is going to be unintentional. I do this a lot when I walk away from something and I'm like, why don't I feel good? And then I reflect and I'm like, oh, I was unkind to myself in that. My self-talk was unkind. I was unkind to that person because I wasn't fully present. Those are the little things, and we build those and those become habits. Sometimes by just being fully present with someone, that is the kindest thing that you can do. So that's our marination station. We're going to be more reflective. I loved that last week with Brad when we talked about integrity, and he talked about living a more reflective life, taking a pause before we walk through thresholds. That's an act of kindness. Witness acts of kindness, be inspired by acts of kindness, be acts of kindness. Remember, at the end of the day, kindness is a noun. I should be able to hold kindness, metaphorically, in my hands and give to another. So, amazing, amazing light workers. I will give this kindness light lesson to us this week. And I will take this kindness light lesson this week, into my day, into my hour, into my minute. As always, I am so grateful that you are here. I think by now you know that this is a good, kind thing you can do for yourself and maybe share with somebody else. So thank you. I'm grateful for you being here. That's a preview of next week. See you next time.